Welcome to the Reflective Path, a podcast where we pause, reflect, and dive into the deeper questions that shape our lives and our world. I'm your host Shailendra, and today we're tackling a topic that's both tough and urgent: why humanity's race towards progress feels increasingly unsustainable. We've sent probes to distant planets, harnessed energy from the atom, and connected billions through technology. Yet we can't seem to stop destroying our only home. Why is that? Because while we've conquered the external world, we remain prisoners of our own minds. Today, I want to go beyond surface level problems like climate change, artificial intelligence, and wars, and explore the deeper truth that humanity's unsustainable race stems not from external challenges, but from an internal imbalance that we refuse to face. The illusion of progress. We often pride ourselves on our progress, but what does progress really mean? Take renewable energy for instance. We need it to reduce carbon emissions, but it comes at the cost of rare earth mining that devastates ecosystems and displaces communities. Or the digital revolution. It's connected us in unimaginable ways, but it's also contributed to mental health crises and social isolation. If progress means advancement, why are we more anxious, divided, and unsustainable than ever? The answer lies in a fundamental contradiction. We create tools to solve problems, yet these tools often amplify the crises they're supposed to fix. Renewable energy, AI, urbanization, these are all symptoms of a deeper imbalance. And this imbalance isn't just external, it's internal. It's driven by desires for convenience, control, and power, desires that overshadow long term well being. The three levels of understanding. To understand the root cause of our crises, let's explore three levels of understanding. Level 1: the crisis as an accident. At this level, we see crises as accidents, simply unintended consequences of industrialization or poor decisions. The solution? External fixes, policy reforms, new technologies, or education campaigns. But history shows the limits of this approach. Remember the Paris Climate Agreement? Over 190 nations signed it, yet emissions continue to rise as countries prioritize short-term gains. And of course, earlier this week, Trump pulled the US out of the agreement like he did during his first term. In workplaces, managers separate conflicting teammates without addressing the underlying interpersonal issues. The problem doesn't go away, it only shifts elsewhere. Level 2: greed and blame. Digging deeper, we see greed, corruption, and ulterior motives driving many crises. Corporations lobby for policies that protect profits at the expense of the planet. Governments start wars over resources, while citizens demand conveniences that perpetuate these problems. But even this level doesn't tell the full story. It assumes the problem lies out there with corporations, systems, or governments. Isn't about technology or governance, but about our inability to understand ourselves. Our unchecked desires, fears, and ignorance drive the choices that lead to these crises. If we don't examine the inner workings of our minds, no external solution will ever suffice. Now let's look at why external solutions fail and some examples. We've spent decades chasing external solutions. But here's the hard truth. Without inner awareness, these fixes are just band-aids. Take alcohol bans. They're meant to reduce consumption, but they lead to smuggling instead. Modern medicine treats symptoms like fatigue or anxiety without addressing the underlying causes. And the same is true on a global scale. Treaties, technologies, and bans can't succeed without addressing the internal drivers of our behavior: our greed, consumption, and disconnection from nature. To truly change course, we need a profound shift in how we see ourselves and our role in the world. Advaita Vedanta, a path to inner transformation. This brings me to something deeply personal. For years, I've wrestled with this idea of inner transformation. One philosophy that's profoundly influenced me is Advaita Vedanta, the ancient Indian philosophy based on the Vedas, the original Hindu scriptures. Advaita Vedanta teaches non-duality, the oneness of the self, the Atman, with the absolute reality, the Brahman. It challenges the illusion of separation between self and the other, showing how this false divide underpins much of our suffering. And this isn't unique to Vedanta. Taoism, Zen Buddhism, Sufism, and even Christian mysticism echo similar ideas. They emphasize turning inward to understand fear, desire, and the self as pathways to meaningful transformation. Now, very few people in the world have been able to distill the concept of non-duality into simple, easy to understand language. One such individual is Acharya Prashant, a contemporary expert on the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. He is also a best-selling author and a fearless truth-teller. His books and piercing insights on non-duality, human ignorance, and what brought us to this crisis have been a beacon in my own journey. Through Acharya Prashant's teachings, I've begun to see how fear shapes our choices and how understanding it can lead to clarity and purpose. His guidance has shown me the power of self-awareness in breaking free from destructive patterns. For anyone interested in diving deeper into these truths, I highly recommend exploring his work. Specifically, I recommend watching a few of his videos on YouTube, any of them, followed by reading the Ashtavakra Gita, a book that presents a radical version of non-dualist philosophy. Conclusion: the crises we face, climate change, AI, wars, are not isolated events. They are outward manifestations of an inner imbalance, a fractured relationship with ourselves. As Acharya Prashant aptly says, a crisis can teach you in a way that no school in the world can. These crises are mirrors that reflect our desires, our fears, and ignorance. They compel us to face truths we'd rather avoid, but in the process, they offer us a rare opportunity for growth. The solutions we seek won't be found in another treaty, policy, or technology. They begin within, with the courage to see illusions that blind us and the fears that hold us back. The question isn't whether the path to change exists. It always has. The real question is, will we summon the courage to walk it? What fears hold you back? What desires drive your choices? The first step to healing the world is healing ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey inward. Until next time, take care and don't forget, the world changes when we do.